Gardening on a Shoestring, 100 Ways to Create a Garden on a Budget by Alex Mitchell. Okay, let's have a look at this book. It's got some really lovely photographs and examples as to what they're saying. It doesn't have, has it got contents? Yes. So contents: how to be a shoestring gardener and examples, pots for pittance, style on a shoestring, grown for peanuts, how to make new plants for free, how not to waste money on gardening kit, keep your garden healthy for almost nothing. Now obviously you're going to spend some money, but this does give you some great tips for you to use. And as you go through the book, it's got a key. They use spades, so for 1 spade it's a doddle, 4 spades it's fairly challenging, and it's got a gardening checklist for you to think about when you look at your garden. If you're looking at your garden for the first time, what is it in your surroundings? Are you on a slope? Have you got tall buildings around, which then will mean that there's going to be a lot of shade? You know, what kind of soil do you have? And look at the plants you already have. So it's encouraging you to look at what you've got first before you just hack everything back, because you may have some really lovely gems in your garden. And then it goes through different things in which you can, ways in which you can make your garden look nice. I mean, like, look at these, how to make garden stools from car tires. Now these look really nice, and they're very easy to do. I mean, it says it's a three spades, so it can be a little bit, it can be a little bit challenging. You've got to paint and stuff like that. So what can you put your pots in? How can you water them? How can you brighten up your garden? How can you use different containers in your garden? From this book, I found an old wheelbarrow in my garden, and I used that to put some plants in. So there are so many different ways in which you can improve the look of your garden very cheaply. So I would have said things like you can go out and buy seeds. So planting from seeds is cheaper than buying the plant itself. It may be that you ask a neighbour who's got a plant, can you get a cut in? So I've grown my garden from a lot of from cut-ins. How do you use plants in ways in which to create different effects? So you can create, this is how to make a kid's den. I've used like a deadwood fence, so using cut-ins to lay them in a particular way to make a fence. And how can you grow foods really cheaply? So you can the food that you buy from the supermarkets, some of the fruits and vegetables, you can cut off the top and plant the top. You can plant the seeds from the seeds that you have. Planting a vegetable garden, a herb garden, she goes through, and there's lots of information for you to take away. How to make new plants for free. So that's saving the seeds, taking cuttings, taking root cuttings, layering, division, how not to waste money from a toolkit. I think it's there's definitely tools that you can't do without, that you must have, and it's not every single tool that you need to go out and buy, but you can make starter pots from newspaper, from toilet rolls. You can buy some willow rods and make a living fence or wigwam, or to protect the plants or to hold them up. And ways in which, if you don't have a greenhouse, like she's used some bricks and then some plastic sheeting to give warmth to the pots. Again, it definitely does depend on where you are around the world, but you can, you know, make use of some of the suggestions. Making your own wormery and compost bin, and fertilizer from plants, from weeds. So there's lots of great tips in this book. It's full of tips, and then we've got resources. Again, this is one of those books, if you live in the UK, it's got lots of ideas, but there are ideas that I took, you know, from this. Depending on where you are, anybody can take newspaper and make little plant pots, depending on where they are, anywhere in the world. So there are some ideas that you can take from this. As I say, wherever you are, you might not have the same kind of plants, or they may not do well in your environment. But again, if you want to, you know, start your garden and you've got a really tight budget, then this is one of those books to maybe consider.